If anyone thinks of the third, let me know.
Well,
Oh?
Following along the Jenna We Love You, but you read a lot of world background, is it might help you actually to write like Jenna does, because she is a studier of history. And basically all of this helps define the world for her. But at the same time, you're not going to want to give all of this to the people who are sitting around listening to her world background, because they're going to go off and get pizza and start cuddling and playing Magic and not paying attention at all. So make it interesting, make it brief for the actual what you're going to give to the players. Even if it helps you to write down this big long thing and define everything.
Yeah, it's totally fine if more content exists of your world. In fact, that's actually a good thing. It means you have a lot of stuff to draw on, and you can make a lot of variety and incorporate stuff into the characters. And it also means if people are really interested in your world, you have more to show them. They can delve more, and it's rewarding. I think that's good for setting.
I have a weirdly specific setting question that isn't actually my game specific, but
Go ahead.
in terms of actual immediate location of the game, at what amount of set are we doing at this point? To give you context, my game is set in a prison, and I would like that prison setting to be interactive. Which is, I can work around it if it's not going to happen, but...
Yeah, we have, this leads to another thing, but we have oftentimes had games that would work really well, like, indoors with rooms and whatnot, because that obscures vision and therefore knowledge a lot, so you can have surprises and locked doors and whatnot, which is often important for some flow structures.
But we don't have Adventure Mansion.
Yeah.
It was Lexi's house.
So,
it had like secret doors behind mirrors and stuff.
And like 4 stories or something.
Although Walnut Creek isn't terribly easy to get to.
Also true.
okay, so... Oh man, I was thinking about Lexi, now I'm distracted. Okay,
How interactive can the setting be?
right, so it is... So definitely don't be discouraged from writing a game that works really well inside. However, be prepared to figure out why your game is in a forest.
Like for mine, it was supposed to take place inside the institution. Instead, everybody's going on like a picnic day outside in the grounds. So they're being allowed to see the sun for good behavior.
What we came up with for SMP. Anybody who doesn't make it to the game was bad and needed to go out.
Yes.
Okay.
I was a bad girl.
Alright, moving on to flow.
Just like the water.
Here's the thing about flow. And here's part of why there's the common misconception that I'm really bad at flow. I'm actually, in fact, only sort of bad at flow. However, the perception that I'm bad at flow is because I'm not very good at plot. However, flow is not plot. Plot is a sequence of events that you know are going to happen, and you are deciding how they are going to happen, and why, and in what order. But it's sort of like a rock, or an iron lattice of fate. But that's not what a game is. A game is alive. It's every character can react to situations and go out on their own in a whole bunch of different ways. And there's a bunch of characters. So you don't know how they're going to diverge from the initial point, or how they're going to react to each other, or how they're going to react to each other reacting to each other. So, right. So, well, a plot is a sequence of certain events. A flow is a sequence of probable and optimal events. It's shaped by what the players do, as it should be. Yes, sir?
As an example, when I was working as Brennan for Bright Lights Red City before I had to leave and each other for the ending bits, and actually last summer, Jenna and I sat down and made a complete flowchart, and it wasn't really very much more than either he kills him and takes his stone, or he kills him and takes his stone, and then maybe he'll get revenge and try to do this, or maybe the hunters will come in and do this. But we tried to map out every probable thing that would happen, and where the game would end up from there, and where we could say the game is finished, and where would be a satisfying conclusion.
Yes, exactly. If your flow only accounts for one specific possible timeline, you're probably writing it wrong. In fact, you're definitely writing it wrong.
Remember the
Either-
trousers of time.
Either,
They split.
yes, either there are possibilities that you aren't accounting for, or there is only one possibility and there should be more. So, more things about flow. Your flow needs structure, but it can have too much structure. Structure exists in the form of
Cutscenes.
yes, that is to say, SPCs making declarations of things that are happening, and shaping the way things go. That's a good thing to have. Without it, you kind of just have people herping and derping and gerping around.
We all know how little you like herbs.
Yeah, hate groups. Terrible looking system. I admit I haven't played it, but it just seems so dry. Like
Accountants. Tick tock.
yeah, basically. Oh, also roll low is a really stupid mechanic. It's like I roll a 1, I succeeded at whatever I was doing, and it means that you can't. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked.
Yes.
Seriously, you can't. If a 1 is the best that you can roll, if a 1 is the best that you can succeed on a task, it means that you can't go higher than that. It's annoying. Okay.
Okay, can I give a few examples of things like flow variations?
Yes.
I think I've played one game that succeeded more or less even though it didn't have flow, and that was the Alice in Wonderland game, which was written by Quinn, and the only reason it worked is because all of the characters had enough differences between them and enough motivations to keep the game going until there was some sort of conclusion reached. In this case, there were 3 separate Alices. I was the Alice of, like, Wonder or something, and there was an Alice who was very much cynical. That was Will. And then, anyway, it was amusing because at one point I told Jared, who was playing the dodo, that he was extinct. He didn't take it well. But in the end, we all gathered up at the tea party and some of us were trying to get out of Wonderland and some of us weren't, and that was kind of the end.
I was gonna declare war on reality! Ah! Nobody really
But
Well,
declared war on
this
reality.
is
though.
a very
apparently.
difficult thing to do, and you probably don't want to do this. Because most people, they have an idea of what they want to happen. And if you don't give a flow, then that's not going to happen, no matter what. One game that had a very rigid flow, that actually, the only reason it worked was no murder. And
That worked.
it worked
There
as
was
it ended up where it was supposed to, from what I could
Actually.
tell.
No murder, from what I remember. Actually,
I think it had a
look at it
starting
this
point
way.
and middle point and an end
Here's
point,
why
and
no.
everything else
Here's
was
why no
nebulous.
murder worked.
Oh my god, right.
No murder
Thanks.
had a flow. However, whether or not you had a good time in that game was largely unrelated to
the flow.
That was
To
true.
have-
That's
to
Yeah.
the flow. The flow was basically just British people show up at a party and be all posh and British and have funny character
Then
quirks,
somebody dies.
which was totally fun, and would be totally fun continuously, even if not many things happened. Which is
But
part of why the game
The
was
flow
good.
didn't have any branches, basically. It wasn't
yeah,
ever
but
going
it
to
also
go.
felt really tacked
Yeah,
on, which is a
but it
different
wasn't
issue.
ever going to go in any direction except one person dies. People try to figure it out. Eventually, the PI shows up. Sorry. Okay. The PI was Roy, who had a 5 o'clock shadow drawn on his face, and his inner monologue was played by Greg, who was dressed exactly the same with a 5 o'clock shadow drawn on his face, and we all had to pretend that we couldn't hear Greg when he was saying all these cliche, hard-boiled PI stuff.
Yeah, Greg was the narrator. It was hilarious.
Structured flow didn't work epic. I don't know if anybody else agrees
Yes.
with me on that.
Oh yeah.
And you were my nemesis, weren't you?
Was that?
I don't remember.
I don't.
No,
I
it
was
was
sort
Rio.
of.
It was Rio.
Yeah, I was sort of busy having a weird side plot with Sebastian that actually worked really well, but was only there because we made it be there.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, Epic is a perfect example of a related
Low idea.
thing. Although this is also sort of a character thing.
Yeah, I
Hang
was gonna
on.
say, from my perspective, Epic was the perfect example of don't write the characters that people specifically say they want, because they're not going to enjoy it as much as they think they will.
Hmm.
Well, actually, here's the thing about Epic. The hype was awesome. The characters were awesome. The thing is, 2 problems. Firstly, a lot of the hype and a lot of the setting was everyone is an awesome avatar of themselves, and therefore everyone is really powerful. Thing is, power is relative. So
Also,
if you're all really powerful, it's
No
pretty
one
much the
is.
same as if
Well, no.
you're normally powerful.
If everyone is Han Solo, then no one can be Han Solo.